Hello, I'm Sarah Marie from the Trussville Tribune Kids News, if any of you watch that. Do any of you watch that?
I do.
All right, cool. So today, I am going to interview the Clauses over here, Mr. Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus.
I'm Mrs. Santa Claus. That's the
So, Santa and Mrs. Claus, how was your journey over here to Trussville, Alabama?
Well, I tell you, I like it. It's cold like the North Pole, and I like it. I know the South's got a lot of warm weather, but man, when we got here, it was cold, and man, this is wonderful. The reindeer would love this.
This is one of our coldest days down here. Did you happen to bring the cold weather with you?
Well, I could have, but that's okay too, because I like the cold weather.
All right. Well, Mrs. Claus, do you ever happen to bake cookies for Santa before he goes out on Christmas Eve?
Well, I actually do bake cookies and candy, but not on Christmas Eve. Because on Christmas Eve, he eats at all of y'all's houses, and he would be so big he couldn't even get in the sleigh if I cooked him too, with what all y'all leave him. But that is a great question. But I do bake them, but just not on Christmas Eve, because y'all do my job that day.
Yeah, and I like it when I go to all these children's houses and they got cookies and milk for me and
That's
everything.
his favorite.
And some of them even leave carrots for the reindeer, and I really like that. And the reindeer love it.
Do we have many people on the nice list in this area?
We've got a whole lot of people on the nice list, a whole lot. That's the reason why I came down. I just wanted to come by and see everybody and let everybody know that everybody here is on my nice list. And Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, you should be real happy.
What about Mrs. Scott?
I think she's on my nice list too. She is so.
Ooh, that's good. I was worried about you. I've been watching.
I don't believe I have anybody in this area here on my naughty list. Is anybody out there, or should you be on my naughty list?
Of course, all the boys raise their hands.
And you notice the only one that raises their hands are the boys.
The girls are always nice.
Well, I'll tell you something, boys. Y'all are on my nice list too. So everybody is going to be real happy on Christmas morning.
Okay. You have another question?
Were you excited when you found out 2 new schools were going to be built here?
I know I was, because I tell you, this is one of my favorite areas to come to on Christmas Eve, because everybody's so nice, the houses are beautiful, and this area is just growing so fast. We got to have room for all the children. We got to put them in the schools, and that's the reason why. And the schools, this school and the Magnolia, is that what it is? The other one? I mean, they're just beautiful.
So, how are the reindeer doing? Are they doing well, like on good behavior?
Rudolph's been a little iffy this year, but all, Dancer and Prancer and Comet Vixen, all of them, they're all at the North Pole right now, and they're all eating and getting their strength up, because Saturday night they got a real big day, because we have a lot of flying to do Saturday night.
If you didn't use the reindeer to get down here, then how are you going to get back up to the North Pole?
We actually flew in.
On an airplane.
And rented from the North Pole and rented a car, because I wasn't going to tire the reindeer out by making them bring me down here today.
So, how does it feel to leave presents under the tree and in the stockings? Is that challenging at all?
A little bit, but Mrs. Claus stays up at the North Pole and makes sure the elves are working, and she's with me today because we were coming here to the school, and I wanted everybody to see Mrs. Claus, because she keeps the elves working, making the toys, making everything that goes in the stockings. And my biggest thing on Christmas morning is when I look at my magic globe and I look at all the children waking up around the world and seeing the smiles on their faces. That's makes...
Even if it's not toys, isn't it, Santa? It doesn't have to be toys, because some people don't get toys.
No, and some people don't. Some people like books and other things, and you know, and some people, you know, we just try to make everybody happy and smile.
We just want to share the love of Christmas. That's more important than the gifts sometimes. And that's what the magic of Christmas is the love that you have for your families.
Are the elves on good behavior as well?
Oh, I wish you hadn't asked me that.
Oh, that's something right there.
That's the reason why Miss Claus usually stays at the North Pole, because when we leave together, the elves, they'll be playing. They won't be working. We left last year, and I'll give you a little brief story. Last year, we both left, and we wanted to go visit a school last year, and so nobody was at the North Pole but the elves, and we told them to continue working. And do you know that when we got home, the elves had built a bunch of Nerf guns, and all they were doing were playing, running around the North Pole, shooting each other. Nobody was working. So right now, we've got to get these elves, and that's the reason why we're leaving as soon as we leave here and head back to the North Pole, because we got about 4 or 5 days left, and we got to make sure the elves get all the toys made.
Sarah Marie, we have a question over here for Santa. Can you bring your mic up?
Oh, of course. What's up?
I just wanted to ask a question.
Sure.
Why do we make the gingerbread houses?
Why do you?
Yeah, why do we make these?
Well, it started out, Santa loves gingerbread to begin with, okay? and everything. So we started to make the houses because Mrs. Claus loved them. And instead of just gingerbread, the houses are so pretty, and the way, how many out there has made a gingerbread house this year? Look at that. Well, I know they've got to be pretty, and you know, and as much as I like gingerbread, I'm not going to eat somebody's house. So it's because it's so pretty, and you put so much work in there.
To keep him from eating all of them, I made them like houses. And you know the little gingerbread boys and girls? I did those because he won't eat children either. So that's the reason we have the houses and the little gingerbread boys and girls.
Okay, thank you for your question.
Oh, goodness. Looks like we have lots of people who want to ask. How about you?
For Christmas, I think I'm going to Orlando, Florida. Can you go to Orlando, Florida? Because I'm visiting to my grandpa's.
I'll be there.
Thank you.
Hey, Santa, you remember where his grandpa lives, because you remember when his daddy was little and his mama was little,
Sure.
and you went there
Sure.
to leave stuff for them?
Oh, yeah.
For them when they
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
So you know where
Santa Claus is not going to miss anybody this year, no matter where you're at. Yes.
How many presents total do you put in your sack?
Oh, goodness gracious. Millions. Okay.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I don't believe I can count that high.
Do you want to know how it happens? Is that a valid question to add to yours? You know, there's lots of toys, and there's one bag. Santa has the magic bag that he takes the toys, and as he puts them in there, they shrink and get small. So he can get all of the toys in the bag. And then as he pulls them out and puts them under the tree or in the living room or wherever, they come back to regular size. That's how they managed to get so many, him and the elves, in that bag. Thank you for asking that wonderful question.
How about you?
How do you make the reindeer fly?
That's also magic. There's a lot of magic at Christmas time. Who believes that? Because it is. You think of how big the world is and everything, and I've got to get all the way around the world in one night, so it has to be magic. The reindeer, Rudolph, really, he is my number one reindeer.
How about you?
If it's a fire in the chimney, how do you get down?
I love that question.
Question, Santa. That's one he loves to tell about.
See this here? Everybody see this?
His magic key.
It's a magic key.
Yes.
And if there's a fire in the fireplace, or if there's a child that doesn't have a fireplace in their
Or
house,
chimney.
or a chimney, this is my magic key. It goes wherever I go, and it gets me in all the houses. Okay?
That was a great question. I'm so glad you asked that one.
There's a reindeer right there, Mrs. Claus. Look. What? Who are you, Dancer or Prancer?
Prancer.
Prancer, okay.
Of course.
Why do you put the bells on the reindeer?
Why do we put the bells on the reindeer? I do it to keep up with them, but when they're pulling the sleigh, I know where they're at. But we all have bells. We all have bells.
There you go.
I like
it's
it
just
too.
A little bit of magic. It's a wonderful sound. Okay, she's going to ask us some more questions.
All right, listen, hey, boys and girls. Boys and girls. Listen.
What time should the kids in Trussville be in bed when you come?
Okay, this is a very good question. Did everybody hear the question?
Sarah Marie, say it one more time, baby.
What time should kids here in Trussville be in bed when you come?
Now, I will tell you this. Here's one way you can kind of determine when it's time to go to bed. First off, you go to bed early because Santa and the reindeer doesn't stop at your house if anybody's awake. Okay?
Rudolph knows.
Now, I've got with all the TV stations, and they have a Santa radar on the TV, and you can watch that Santa radar, and you can see wherever I'm at on Christmas Eve, anywhere in the world. Now, for me telling you when to go to bed, when you see me starting getting close to Trussville, it's time to be in the bed. And you can't go in there and pretend you're asleep. You have to really go to sleep. Rudolph is the one that if he's leading the sleigh, and if he doesn't stop at a house, that's because somebody's not asleep.
He knows.
And we just keep on going. So if you don't want us to miss your house, make sure that you're in bed and plenty enough time to get to sleep. You can't pretend to be
I
asleep.
would say at least by 8 or 9, at least.
I would think so. Probably 8 or 9 o'clock would be a good time to say goodnight to your mom and dad and go to sleep.
Whatever.
Between 8 and 9.
All right, boys and girls, Santa and Mrs. Claus have to leave us. They got other places to visit. So, can you tell them thank you for coming? Hey, Miss Fortenberry, could you lead us into a We Wish You a Merry Christmas as they enter off? Yes.
Thank you for letting us come by to see you.
We wish